Welcome back to the final part of the Sonic 06 walkthrough. In this episode, we are going to be covering the Shadow Boss Attack DLC, the boss rush for Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, available for purchase on the Xbox 360 store. In this part, we fight the remixed boss battles as well as some enemy encounters. Similar to the Sonic fight, you're going to grab onto his horn and try to make him run into the wall. Remember that he needs to actually be facing the wall in order for the hit to count. Furthermore, unlike Sonic's campaign, Shadow's campaign does not feature statues, meaning that you have to hit him 4 times. Lastly, because of how the statues are gone, and because of how the wall is programmed, sometimes you just will not hit due to a poor hitbox, and that's okay. You have plenty of time. Just make sure you land on him, grab the horn, and ram him into something. Unlike the Sonic campaign, during the Shadow fight, he will always knock you off the horn, so get used to the timing to be able to homing attack back onto the horn, and repeat. Eventually, you're going to learn that you won't be able to always make it to the other side, simply because he'll start throwing you off too quickly. In order to get around that, you're going to have to lead the egg Cerberus in a circle. The game does not tell you about that, but that's partially why this is a challenge. You must make sure that you can figure out what is going on and adapt to it. Once more, we've grabbed onto his horn, and we're trying to aim him towards the wall. He launches us off, we time the homing attack correctly, and now, you see, we don't have enough time to make it to the other side of the wall. In other words, we must use the circle maneuver in order to ram him into the wall quickly. Notice how I do a big circle instead of trying to get to the other side. That's one launch off. Second launch, make a circle, and we have hit the egg Cerberus. We are now halfway through it. By this point, he is now affectable by the Chaos Spheres. You can also begin to homing attack him to stun him. He's going to go to the ceiling and do his jump attack. Just wait for him to jump and then immediately start homing attacking in a different direction. If you want to dodge enemies, just spam the Chaos Sphere or hold it in mid-air so that the robots themselves don't attack you. Just homing attack in a different direction so he doesn't land on you, and get back on his tail because he's currently dazed. I missed with the Chaos Sphere, which is bad. And as a matter of fact, unlike the main fight, I'm also sure that he's now able to just jump in place, which makes him very dangerous. Using the Chaos Sphere will stop him in place, preventing him from running away, which allows you to get back onto him rather quickly. Do small circles, these are quarter circles, to ram him into the wall once again. We now have one final attack on the egg Cerberus, and while I must admit that the fight is not as straightforward as I would like, what I did there is got on the rail, but because he was originally going to just dodge out of the way, I used the homing attack to get back on. Using the homing attack as Shadow works because Shadow's homing attack is stronger than Sonic's. If you attempt to do that same strategy with Sonic, you are just going to fall off. The egg Cerberus is now defeated. The following is a set of enemy encounters. If you've made it this far, I'm going to assume you know how to kill the basic robots. Enjoy the sped up footage. The next fight is the Iblis boss fight. It is 1-to-1, the Sonic boss fight. You are going to wait for him to allow the stalagmites to fall from the ceiling so that you can use them as footholds. Iblis will attempt to break them, but using your skills, you should be able to outmaneuver that. Pay attention to which side he's coming from. I assumed he was coming from my right, but that was wrong. He was actually coming from my left. If you're in the air as Shadow and use the Chaos Sphere, you're able to dodge it. That technique is not available to you as Sonic. Remember, Shadow is the stronger character if we are not counting the gems. Furthermore, I will not be using the exploit to defeat this guy. I will be fighting him legitimately to show you all how to properly do it. You're going to dodge the meteors by getting onto a different foothold, preferably one that is a foothold away from the foothold you're currently standing on. When he does his little dance, he drops more footholds from the ceiling. You're going to use this time to get onto this platform and activate the ball of light. Make sure that you dodge. If you're a Shadow, you can actually jump over those meteors just fine, unlike Sonic, where he has a bit of a hard time doing so. Furthermore, with the Chaos Spear, you're just a bit more insulated from the attack as well. He'll lunge at the light, you just jump towards him and attack. That's 1 of the 4 hits done. I love this song. Anyhow, he once again goes underneath, so I need to pay attention to where he's gonna lunge at. He's lunging towards me, so I go 2 platforms away, and he will now no longer hit me. Once again, you're in a bit of a staring competition here. You want to make sure that he doesn't actually hit you. He's going to launch meteors, so make sure you get away. As long as you're the distance of 1 stalagmite away, you should be fine. The kicks are not necessary, they're just to pass the time. Sometimes you get into a situation where Iblis will launch the footholds. What you should do is take the damage and just jump over there. But I'm trying to beat this guy with no exploits. So what you do instead is get to a different platform and try to make the jump. Remember, Shadow's homing attack is stronger, so he's more likely to make the jump than Sonic is. You're gonna bait him towards the light and then homing attack his eye, once again dropping him to half health. You only have 2 hits left with this boss. The birds can get annoying, so if you want to, just kill them, or you can just be a few platforms away and you should be fine. Remember to get away from the meteors. I keep calling them meteors, but technically they're just fire rocks. Here he's going to try to bait you by activating the light. Don't allow yourself to fall for it. Hit the light anyways to have him initiate his attack. Jump away from the rocks of fire. Make sure you keep an eye on Iblis. You have camera control in this fight, so it's very dangerous. As you can see, he's going towards my right, his left, so make sure you're on at least the back 2, or the side he's not going towards. Then homing attack his eye. You have 1 more hit left. I believe it's going to be a desperation attack, so you should be fine. Once again, he sends rocks, just dodge them. Make sure that when he's doing this dance, you pay attention to anything coming off him. He wasn't allowing any material off him, so I know he's getting ready to have the stalagmites fall on us. Make sure to jump away from the rocks whenever you light something up. Make sure you also keep your concentration focused on Iblis. Check to see which direction he's coming from. He's coming from our left, his right, so make sure you're in the back 2 platforms. And once he's there, you're going to jump and homing attack onto his eye, and that is the Iblis fight completed.
Such foolishness. Very well. Let's see if you can entertain me.
The Mephiles fight is also not very difficult. The challenge adds the fire hazard from the flame core level. Now, unlike the main story, these shadows move a lot faster, and you are unlikely to dodge them using the same technique. So instead, what you're going to do here is allow them to attach themselves to you as the fight progresses, but make sure you are in a homing attack chain, meaning the mash A or X button, and while you're in that chain, the explosion does not harm you. After all, as long as Shadow is using his combat maneuvers, he's immune to everything, even missiles. The only exception to that rule are lasers, but there are no lasers in this fight, so you are perfectly safe. Furthermore, while you're in a homing attack, the fire does not affect you as well. It truly proves that Shadow is the ultimate life. Make sure to, as time progresses, slowly but surely whittle away at shadows, spend minimal time on the air. Once you get into that situation, begin your homing attack chain once again to avoid the explosion. This is very clearly what the devs intended. It's just crazy. And the only way I know that this is what the devs intended is because there is literally no way to consistently dodge these shadows as the fight progresses. You just have to accept that they're gonna get on you, and once you get enough meter, you're going to activate the memory shard to release Mephiles. He has a brief invincibility window, but once he moves for the first time, you can start attacking him. If you're fast enough, you can take out his entire health bar in 1 cycle, which I believe I demonstrate here. I say I believe because I recorded this footage about 2.5 months ago. But I'm pretty sure I get him in 1 cycle. Yep. And unlike the main campaign, you do not continue the fight with him as Omega. No, you are strictly Shadow for this boss rush. So only phase 1 of the phase 1 Mephiles fight is here. Nice. I like that stare he gives us. The following is an enemy assault section. I'm going to assume you know how to kill enemies, so I will be speeding up the footage. Enjoy. Just to let you know, the robots that are in the sky keep respawning, so I do not believe that they count toward the enemy kill count. However, that does not go for the laser enemies, just the ones that hover using the helicopter wings.
Don't get in my way!
The Silver boss fight has the same weaknesses as the Sonic boss fight. All you need to do is rush him while he's in the air, and you can actually get some free hits on him. I missed, but if you are fast enough, you can hit him before any of that. If he is in the take this position, just attack him. See, take advantage of the fact that he's in the air. Furthermore, as you saw, he's more willing to pick up items in the Shadow fight as opposed to the Sonic fight, which makes him a real threat. You can actually use the Chaos Spear on him to temporarily disable him, which is good when you're running away. And lastly, the last trick you can use is to break the crates on top of him, which also inflicts damage. Silver went out like a punk once again. More enemy kills. In this specific enemy kill section, if you're playing this on PC as opposed to on a console, you will find that occasionally, if your PC is not strong enough, the enemy spawn cap will be reached, but the enemy spawn cap is actually smaller than the total amount of enemies you need to kill to beat it. If you're playing this on PC either through Zinnia or some other Xbox version, all you need to do is press F3 or F5, depending on which button you have it set up to. If you're playing this on RPC3, there's a mod you can install to fix the loading and graphics on the system. However, it will make the game run at a 720 30 FPS. So pick your poison. You can either risk the mod and have to restart the boss attack if you're playing this on an emulator with the RPC S3 version, or you can take the graphical downgrade and guarantee beating this. I do not condone piracy. I assume you are going to be extracting the ISO and decrypting it yourself. Otherwise, enjoy the sped up footage.
I'll make sure you regret this.
Onto the final section of the Sonic the Hedgehog boss rush attack. This is Mephila's round 2. Mephila's round 2, as you can see, has invincibility frames. If you attack him in your base form, he will only be vulnerable if you use the Chaos Short attack. All you are seeing me do here is demonstrate his invincibility. In addition, it keeps you off the ground to avoid the shadows if you are very paranoid about that, because the shadows can hit you. Once he does his little twirl, dodge out of the way so that you don't drown in darkness, as he says, and wait for the shadows, I hate that they're called that, but that's what they're called, to appear from the ground. Once enough shadows appear from the ground, wait for them to start getting into their laser beam launch, begin with a Chaos Spear to paralyze them, and once they're paralyzed, initiate your homing attacks. Sometimes their movements are a bit erratic, and you will find it difficult to dodge their attacks. Do not worry, this is Sonic the Hedgehog, you can always pick up rings if you're ever in a bind. Once you do that, you repeat the process and kill more shadows until your chaos meter is full, like so. Remember, their laser beams can aim toward you. It's not the most likely outcome, but it can happen, and when it does, it sucks. Allow the meter to be full. Once the meter is full, wait until there are enough of these shadows on the ground in order to get as much of your health bar, not your health bar, your chaos bar filled as possible. I got a bit greedy there and did it too early, which means I won't be able to one-cycle Mephiles in this version of the fight. While you can one-cycle him in the boss attack mode, it is much harder than it is on the story mode simply because of how much faster he moves. Because of his erratic movements, Mephiles will not allow you to attack him simply because you chase him. You need to figure out where he's going to be before you initiate your assault, otherwise he'll just run away. Furthermore, I find that the Chaos Snap is less consistent in the Mephiles fight, as opposed to in the regular story. The trick I learned is to just initiate the combo attacks before he runs away. So initiate the combo attacks before you do the homing attack, otherwise you're going to end up in that situation where you have a brief pause in midair. As you can see, due to my greed, I was unable to sentence Mephiles to death, and he lives with a sliver of health. In addition, another way to dodge these shadows, if you don't want to do the jump homing attack strat, is to just stay in the air and hold the Chaos Spear. You will never be hit. Wait for our boy Mephiles the Dark to twirl, go into the ground, get out of the way so you don't drown in darkness, and you repeat the same process that you did earlier in the fight. This time around, more of the shadows spawn, so it's a lot faster to get through to the main fight. As a matter of fact, on round 2, the max number of shadows will spawn if you don't kill him in one cycle. I think less people kill him in one cycle in this version, so it's beneficial to show off what happens here. If you are able to kill him in one cycle, then congratulations, you have already beaten the fight. Activate the memory shard, let the 2 golems die, and now we just chase Mephiles up the sky. Alright, Mephiles, prepare to die the death. Sentenced to death. The great equalizer is the death. And with that, we have completed the Shadow Boss Attack DLC. Mephiles claims to be forever and invincible, but as we know, he is not because he no longer exists in the timeline. Until Shadow Generations brought him back, only for Shadow to seal him up once again. That is the Shadow Boss Attack with the S rank. Have a nice day.